Welcome back to Hope's Homemade Kitchen. Thanks for joining me today. We're doing an Olive Garden soup, a Copycat recipe today for their Zuppa Toscana. It's a delicious soup that I order when I go there, with their breadsticks, of course. We're not doing the breadsticks today, but hang on and I'll show you the ingredients for Zuppa Toscana. The ingredients for the Zuppa Toscana are minced garlic, chopped onion, Parmesan cheese, Italian sausage, bacon, heavy cream, red pepper flakes, chicken stock, potatoes, and kale. Okay, you want to thoroughly wash your potatoes. Next, we'll thoroughly wash our kale. I'm going to make sure that you want to get any sand out of the kale. We'll be cutting out those large ribs and dicing it up, but you don't want to bite down on any grit, so make sure you thoroughly wash it. This looks like a lot of kale, but once it's all chopped up, the recipe calls for about 4 cups of chopped kale, and it cooks down really quickly, so you're not going to have kale soup. It'll just be a nice addition to the soup. Next, we're going to brown the sausage, and I'm just using the Johnsonville sausage, the hot kind. You could use any kind of ground Italian sausage. This is really easy soup to put together, and it is so tasty. It only requires really just a few ingredients, but you get so much flavor for what you put into it, and it is really, really good. If you could only smell this Italian sausage, it smells amazing. Got a little spice in there. So you just want to cook it until all of the pink is out of it. Then we'll remove it from the pan and cook the bacon pieces. Now I usually cook my bacon in the oven, and you can still do that. I just want to have that bacon flavor in the soup juices. So this time I'm going to cook it in the pan. Okay, it looks like all the pink is out of it. Okay, for the bacon, I'm just going to dice it up into pieces that will fry up crispy in the pan. This is about 8 slices of bacon, so about half of the 1-pound package. So in goes that chopped bacon. Okay, they look pretty thoroughly browned now. I'm going to take them out and put them with the sausage. Now I'm going to add in my chopped onion. About a half of a large onion. Once that's cooked down a few minutes, I'll put in my garlic. Okay, it's cooked down pretty well now. I'm going to add a big heaping spoon of minced garlic. Just stir that around a little bit till it's fragrant. Then we'll add in our chicken stock. So I'm adding in a 32-ounce container of chicken stock. And then it also calls for 24 ounces of water. I'm going to add in just a few more pepper flakes. Not too many since it's hot, spicy sausage. And then some freshly ground pepper. And then we'll prepare our potatoes to put in. We'll let that start to cook. Okay, for the potatoes, I've got some thin-skinned golden potatoes. And I'll put all of the ingredients that I'm using and the measurements in the description box below. You can fully peel the potatoes or not. You could leave the skin on if you want. So this recipe calls for about 5 medium russet potatoes. I prefer golden potatoes over russet potatoes, but you can use any kind of potatoes you like. I've also used the new potatoes with the red skins. Those work as well. This recipe calls for thinly sliced, even to the point if you want to use a mandolin, or you can dice them. They're good any way you put them in there. I believe the Olive Garden original soup does have them thinly sliced. Now these will break up when they cook. All right, we're going to add the sausage and bacon back to the pot. That's looking good already. Okay, next we're going to chop up our kale. You want to remove these big ribs. If it'll come off like that, that makes it easy. I've thoroughly washed these. And when you think you've washed them enough, you want to wash them again, just so you don't get any of that sand or grit, because that'll ruin your soup. Okay, and be careful chopping kale. Believe it or not, the worst finger cut I ever got was when I was chopping kale, of all things. So you can kind of roll these. Makes it a little easier to cut. Okay, that looks like a lot of kale, but it's going to cook down. Okay, so the potatoes have been in for a little bit. See how they're starting to break up? very thinly sliced. Just an interesting texture for the soup. Now at this point I'm going to be adding in the kale, and it's going to cook down. And then once that's cooked down enough, we'll add our cream and the soup will be done and ready to serve. So this is a lot of kale. 4 cups of chopped kale. Looks like it's not going to go in there, but it is. Okay, I'm going to turn the heat down and put the lid on and let that cook for a little bit. Now we're ready to add the cream. 1 cup of cream. And that just needs to heat up a little bit. And it's ready to serve. So you'll want to taste this just to make sure all the spices are right. And if it needs a little bit of salt, then now's the perfect time to add it. Okay, now for the taste test of the Olive Garden Copycat Zuppa Toscana. I can see it's just full of sausage, potatoes. I can see the bacon. Delicious. And you can add a little Parmesan cheese on top, and that will just accentuate the flavor. Mm. Mm. You're gonna love this soup. Let me know if you try it. Thank you for joining me again today on Hope's Homemade Kitchen. I really hope you liked what you saw, and if you did, please consider subscribing, liking, and sharing on YouTube. We'll see you next time.